Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Purple People podcast. My name is Kyle West. Alongside me is Adam Carlson, and we're here to talk about the Minnesota Vikings coming off a win 30-7 against the Tennessee Titans. How you doing today, Adam?
Hey, how's it going? Once again, I'd like to invite all of you guys to come to the Facebook fan page and talk to us on Twitter. We'd like to hear from you. We love talking about sports, especially our Minnesota Vikings. Come on in, talk to us. It'll be fun times for all of us.
Yeah, I love the interactions I've been getting over Twitter. It's been really fun. I live tweet during every game, and I've been getting a lot of people replying back. So yeah, go ahead and we share all kinds of information.
Oh, definitely.
Yep.
Let's go right into our main. Well, the first thing we usually do is we give away our game ball to the player that we think deserves it, and we name a donkey for the team. So, who is your game ball going to, Kyle?
Well, I'm gonna get the ball rolling with Toby Gerhart. You know,
Okay.
we know about the struggles he had at the end of the 49ers game, and it was nice to see him come out in this one. He on 6 attempts, he had 41 yards on the ground. His long run was for 22 yards, and folks, that gives our backup running back more yards than the Tennessee Titans starter, Chris Johnson. So yeah, really good to see Toby get back out there and play at a high level. We want to see him be that complimentary back for Adrian, and yeah, so I'm gonna give Toby the my game ball for that one. Who do you got?
Now, I thought that you were going to pick Percy Harvin.
Mm-hmm. That's what
And
Toby.
let's be honest, we both probably should have picked Percy Harvin.
Yeah.
But I didn't pick him either because I thought you were going to take him, and I've got Adrian Peterson written down. 88 yards, 17 carries, 5 catches for 15 yards. They're getting him involved in the game the same way they're trying to do with Percy Harvin right now. They're getting the ball in his hands any way they can, whether it's on a short pass or if they're just dropping it off to him or handing off the ball like you've seen him do many, many, many times. Adrian Peterson, I love him.
Yep. And I'm gonna elaborate more on what you just said there in the game recap.
Sounds good?
Yep. Let's move on to our donkey, our jackass of the game, if you will. Mine goes to the Titans head coach Mike Munchak for using his timeouts late in the fourth quarter when Minnesota had Joe Webb in the game. We were going to take a knee and very clearly just run the clock off and get this game over with. There was no shot that the Titans were going to do anything. They're not going to come back. They're
No.
way, way, way behind on it. And it turned into the longest 2 minutes of a football game I've ever seen. He just drug it out unnecessarily. I felt
I don't mind the end of games being dragged out if it's close or, if they're doing it for a reason. There was no reason for it.
there was none. I mean, he didn't even have Matt Hasselback out on the field. He had Rusty Smith.
Rusty,
Yeah, I'm.
the callback from last week's podcast there. I
God,
had to call out Rusty, and sure enough, we got to see him.
I mean, come on. The game was over. That was stupid. Mike Munchak. I was watching the game with my dad, and he said Titans need to be looking for a new head coach. And I just started laughing when he said that. And I'm like, yeah, after the way they looked in that game, he might be correct.
Could very well be.
Who do you
Got
have?
any guess as to who my donkey might be?
Uh, John Carlson?
No, no, no. Harrison Smith.
Oh yeah, I guess.
You can't put your hands on the referee. Even if you're just trying to move him aside a little bit. You can't do it. Hopefully it's just a big fine like Belichick got, and hopefully he's not suspended for games because the Vikings need him. You can't put your hands on the ref no matter what.
And for that one, I was really ticked off. I probably don't remember the next 3 minutes of that football game. And I'm not exaggerating right now. I was so ticked off, like I don't remember what happened immediately after he got ejected from the football game. It
Now, after Harrison Smith got the boot, we saw Robert Blanton come in his place. Now, I haven't gotten to see much of Blanton at safety, and that was really interesting to me. But you saw a severe drop off in how physical the play was.
Hmm.
Sure, Blanton got some tackles. I think he had ended up with 5, but he is not the kind of player Harrison Smith is. And for him to get kicked out of the game for something as silly and stupid as that, no, he's a donkey this week. Hopefully not
Definitely.
next week.
Definitely. Let's go ahead and jump right into our game recap. And I'm going to get the ball rolling, even though that might be the second time I've used that analogy
Hey, roll all the balls you want.
during this podcast. I don't know, folks. I have short term memory loss for things like that.
It's okay.
Anyway, I want to get it going by talking about Christian Ponder because
Okay.
he threw 2 interceptions today. And as we all know, we had talked heartily about how he was the only starting quarterback in the NFL up to this game to have not thrown any.
Right.
Realistically, he should probably have, what, 4 or 5 on the season already due to just
Right.
balls that have been dropped. So luck finally stopped being on his side in this game. The positive that came from it is he didn't appear to be shaken at all by those 2 interceptions. So that I like his poise in the pocket. That's really good to see from him.
I'm gonna go the exact opposite direction as you just did.
Okay.
Now, you saw Connor come out and he was trying to make a ball go where it shouldn't have gone.
Hmm.
You saw him passing in triple coverage, trying to hit Jerome Simpson on a big play. And you can't do that. You got to take what the defense gives you. I think those 2 interceptions are a good thing. I think he can look at that and he can say, I'm going to take what the defense gives me, even if it's just Percy Harvin 2 yards out to make him try to let him make a play. If it's hitting Red Ellison on a check down, those are the things that the Vikings need to do. This is what the Vikings are doing to win games. They're being conservative. They're picking up yards on short plays, getting the yards after the catch. There's no reason to be doing these 17, even, big yard bombs anyway. There's no reason, especially not into triple coverage.
Well, we don't quite have the personnel to be making those downfield throws like that, but I still like to see Ponders showing a little bit of that gunslinger mentality and trying to fit it in there,
Not
especially.
into triple coverage. Don't do it.
Well, that's true. I mean, you got to be smart with it. But, as well as I do, Kyle Rudolph is someone that you can kind of throw a ball to when he's covered, and he's
Right.
going to make a big play out of it. And I think Jerome Simpson, when he's healthy, his knee was a little bit banged up in this game. That's what I
Right.
read after the fact. But he's a guy that I think can kind of go up and make plays like that too. But you're 100% right. This offense runs through Percy Harvin and Adrian Peterson, and Percy has showed time and time again that you can throw the ball to him, like you said, 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and he can somehow turn it into a 20-yard gain. That's just as good as throwing a big bomb down the field, in my opinion.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And earlier you mentioned that Adrian Peterson and Toby Gerhart both had more rushing yards than Chris Johnson.
Yep.
Did you know that there was a third Viking that had more rushing yards than Chris Johnson?
That would be Christian Ponder. Christian
It
Ponder
was.
he had 31 yards on the ground. Chris Johnson only had 24. And like I said, we mentioned Toby Gerhart had 41, Adrian Peterson had 88.
Oh yeah. So it was nice to see all the pieces of the game moving. Even Ponder scrambling and picking up yards with his knee that he was having problems with before the game and all week. So it was nice to see him come out and actually be mobile, playing through the pain. It's good to see.
Yeah, I had tweeted out, or excuse me, posted on Facebook earlier in before the game started that we were going to see Joe Webb, and I assumed that it was going to have something to do with Ponder's knee possibly taking a big hit and maybe him having to miss a couple plays and Joe Webb coming in. Of course, Joe did end up coming out right
He sure did.
at the tail end, so I was technically correct on that front.
Even if it was just to come in and take one knee or two knees or hand off a ball.
Yeah, to Matt Asiata.
Yeah, they sure were grinding down. They weren't willing to risk anybody there.
Well, like I said, it was stupid for to even be going on at that point. But
Now, with Simpson having his, I don't know if it was knee or ankle problem, so I'm sure we'll hear more soon. With I read something that Adrian Peterson was playing through some pain, and
hmm
Percy Harvin was getting banged all over the place. We saw a couple other guys step up. We saw Devin Aromashodu step up with 3 catches, 32 yards. It doesn't sound like a lot, but having that option to drop off the pass to him was huge. Another guy that we also saw playing real well, except for one block that he totally whiffed on, was Rhett Ellison. It's nice to see his soft hands getting involved because he has those. He has the ability to make the catch and pick up a couple yards after, as you saw. And it was weird to see him used in place of, I'll say, the tight end that will not be named.
I'm not gonna go there either. But I will say that Rhett Ellison was really close to getting my game ball instead of Toby Gerhardt. And you look at it and you go, well, God, he only had 2 receptions for 35 yards. But that doesn't tell the whole story of what
No,
does for this team. He has been the leading blocker for Adrian Peterson multiple times in this
he
offense.
sure has.
They call him up to do that. And you go look back at the game film for this Titans game and watch the big runs that Adrian had, you'll notice Rhett out there right in front of him throwing big time blocks that are allowing Adrian to get up into the second level and get some of those longer rushes. Uh, John Carlson was the guy you were talking about earlier. He had one reception. He who we will not name had 1 reception for 2 yards, and that's what 2 games back to back now that he's at least had catches.
You
So
realize it's too late. You already named him, right?
yeah, I know.
Now he's gonna show up and murder you in your sleep.
That might be Harrison Smith. He kind of frightens me a little bit, and that's what I like about him. You know that?
Oh, I understand totally.
Yeah,
He had one huge hit on that rookie wide receiver, Kendall Wright, when he was going to make a catch. I think he actually completed the catch, but he stopped him dead in his tracks and
mhm.
just slammed him down on the ground. But I want to mention, while we're talking about big hits, and I know we're not in the defense section yet, but I want to talk about Josh Robinson's tackle on Javon Ringer. That was one of the scary moments of the game because you saw what Javon Ringer's leg did,
Yeah. Ouch.
and it was pretty sickening. Now, Jim Wyatt on Twitter, I'm not exactly 100% sure who he is. I don't follow him. I probably should. But I took this from the Roto World page. It says the Titans reportedly fear that Javon Ringer's left knee will end his season. The injury looked bad on the field as Ringer's knee went backwards beneath him after cornerback Josh Robinson landed on him at the end of a 4-yard reception. Jamie Harper would take place as Tennessee's clear-cut backup if Ringer's lost for the season. Chris Johnson has continued to play like a guy who needs to be benched in real life and not just fantasy. So let's take a look at this and see how big of an impact that's going to make on Tennessee. They've got a running back that's just completely failing in Chris Johnson. Javon Ringer finally comes in, gets a couple run plays going, and he has this kind of injury. And now they're left with Jamie Harper, someone that I don't even know who they are, to back up Chris Johnson. It makes me feel even better about the Vikings running back situation because they have Peterson, they have Gerhardt, they have Asiata, they have Harvin filling back there. They've got so many guys that can just step in and take the job. It's so good to see. But I really hate seeing injuries like that to Javon Ringer, and I hope him a speedy recovery.
Well, and on the flip side, better them than us. You hate, I mean, you hate to say that, but in a roundabout way, better it happened to the Titans than the Minnesota Vikings. We've been pretty lucky so far that no one on our team has gotten hurt, and they're going to miss a significant amount of time. Minstrel Raymond is a little bit banged up and isn't
Except Greg
playing.
Child.
Yeah, what Greg Childs, that happened obviously before the regular season started, so I think they were able to shuffle
I'm
their.
just saying the Vikings have had a couple bigger ones.
Well, they have, but we were able to shuffle our cards around to take care of the Greg Childs injury a little bit.
Right. Now, when we're talking about Josh Robinson, it wasn't a dirty hit or anything. He just landed really oddly on him. I know Josh Robinson is physical. To me, he looks like he could be another Antoine Winfield, and that's a high praise coming from me because I love the way he plays.
We can
So please don't take it out on Josh Robinson as being a bad hit or a dirty play because it wasn't.
And we can say something about this Minnesota Vikings defense that we could not say last season. There are guys in that secondary that are scary. I mean, would you want to be hit by Harrison Smith? No.
No,
You do not want to be hit by him. I wouldn't even want him to be pissed off at me in a back alley someplace because
I don't want to get hit by him. I don't want to get hit by Antoine Winfield. I don't want to get hit by Josh Robinson. I don't want anybody to hit me though. I'm too pretty for that.
yeah, I mean, and Chris Cook, did you see that play that Cook had where like I don't even know how to explain it, but like
He kind of stretched
yeah,
Armstrong, his arm around him to bat the ball out.
yeah, he did.
That was textbook. It was perfect.
I don't know how he did that and did it without getting an interference call on him. That was a big time play, and this is improvement. I love the improvement that I'm seeing from our defense. The only thing they need to improve upon is we're seeing a lot of tipped balls and near interceptions, which is great because it's keeping the other team from completions, but I want to see those near interceptions and tipped balls turned into actual interceptions for either 6 points or setting our offense up into positions where they can go ahead and get a touchdown out of it.
Definitely. And did you see AJ Jefferson got in on some plays this week?
Yeah, did he? I guess I didn't really notice him.
Got himself a couple tackles. He's adjusted to the Vikings defense pretty well. And it's a good sign when you don't notice a new player that just comes in on a trade a couple weeks ago and he is able to mesh with the system so well that he doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it means he's not screwing up. So we
He's a smart corner. He's very physical. He'll fit in well.
Yep.
Got some size too. I love that.
Brian Robinson and Jared Allen both got on the stat sheet for having a record, for having a sack in in today's game. And
I would buy their records just to listen to them. I would.
I would like to see a duet between Brian and Jared. I think that'd be really interesting. But
all the song's gonna be Jared Allen singing about how he's envious of Brian Robinson's hair.
And in the background, Clay Matthews just has the one tear rolling down the cheek like those.
Oh no!
Like those. Old,
I didn't go there. That wasn't me.
Like those old commercials with the Indian when you throw the trash on the side of the street. That's.
Those are pretty classic.
Actually, Audie Cole is the one on the team who's got the best hair, in my opinion.
All right, we got to stop this conversation. It's getting a little weird.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Brian and Jared both got a sack in this game. How do you think these guys are playing, not only in this game, but so far this season, Adam?
Now, Brian Robinson, I actually think is playing better than Jared Allen right now. Jared Allen's taking himself out of a lot of plays by being a little too aggressive. And I think that's really hurting him in getting to the quarterback. I know he wants the sack record. I know that. But you're not going to get it over pursuing. It's not going to happen. Is that sort of how you feel about it?
Yeah, of course, we all thought that Jared was going to break the sack record, which is clearly not going to happen unless
something special happens
unless
here.
Matthew Stafford just stands there the next time we play Detroit or something. I don't know. But I would much rather take the Vikings with a 4-1 record than Jared Allen getting the single season sack record and us just only winning 2 games the entire season. Jared is still playing at a high level for Minnesota. He's just not quite getting the sacks yet. The sacks out of it like what he was last year. And him applying the pressure to the quarterback, forcing him out of the pocket so that either Brian Robinson or Kevin Williams or someone else can get the sack or, forcing a bad throw or whatever. He's still doing his job. You're just not quite seeing the stats that we've kind of grown accustomed to seeing, in the past from him.
Right, but you're also seeing a drop off in his tackles too from last year.
Yes, you
And
are.
that's an area that's kind of concerning me is that he's more concerned about getting to the quarterback than stopping the run. And I understand that it's two different kind of plays, but you've got to have that awareness to back off the sack chasing when there's a running back running right next to you.
And I think that is the biggest, I don't even know if red flag is the correct term that you want to use for it, but I guess
Yep.
that's sort of the biggest little piece of information that stuck out for me about Jared so far is that you're seeing those missed tackles. That's not something that Jared Allen would have done 2 or 3 seasons ago, and that's part of the reason why it's going to be interesting to see what Minnesota chooses to do after this year is up with him.
It will,
And
especially with Everson Griffin playing well.
yep, and we'll leave that at that for right now.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about the defense. So let's talk about those linebackers. What do you think this week?
I thought they played pretty good. How can you not like the way our defense managed to hold out the Titans? It looked like they were gonna hold them to a shutout the entire game.
Now this is going to sound like we're nitpicking because we are. It's what we do. We do analyze. So my major problem with the linebacking core right now is the coverage down the field. When a linebacker is asked to cover the middle of the field in a nickel situation, you saw Aaron Henderson come out and say, "Challenge me in the pass game. I made that mistake a few games ago. I am better than that." Well, guess what? He made that mistake again in this game, and it was another touchdown. So Aaron Henderson, you're on my poop list right now.
Your poop list, huh?
It's on my poop list.
Oh, we're getting real. We're bringing out the poop list here on the podcast.
That's right. But I also saw one other thing that I really didn't like from this defense.
Okay.
And it's the same thing that I've been saying every week. So if you tune in often, you might want to just advance about 30 seconds because it's the same rant I've done almost every week. The defense is playing too loose at the end of games. Where is the eye of the tiger? Where is the just wanting to kill them? Where is it? Don't take your foot off their throat when they're down. Don't do it. Win the game. Win it handily. Don't let them come back in the game. There was a point where there were 2 scores down, and the Vikings had punted. A score there, and it's a 1-score game. An onside kick, and that's a tie. You can't leave yourself in position for things like that. You can't. And there's my rant.
Yeah, in the same vein, I just wanted to make mention of the fact that you look at the score and you go, Minnesota won in a blowout 30-7. I think watching the game, it was the most ticked off I've ever been with Minnesota winning by that large of a margin because they were doing just a lot of. Okay, Harrison Smith gets ejected, and that ticked me off. And then the interceptions that Ponder threw, and he could have had realistically maybe a couple more on the game. And there were
Right.
there were just things that we're lucky that we were playing a Titans team that's really bad. I mean, how else do you put it? And the Titans are just really bad this season. And
if this Titans team had more offensive firepower, if their defense would have stepped up a little bit, this would not have been the blowout that it was. And that's what scares me, is that this is a team that the Vikings should have trounced. And yeah, you look at the score, and you say, yeah, they did. But when you watch the game, you didn't get that feeling.
Here's what I think, Adam. This team, because they're so young, seems to have a tendency to play at the level of their opponent. So if they're playing against the San Francisco 49ers, they come out and they play at a really high level because they know that's what we got to do to win this game. And then they come out against the Tennessee Titans, who are not that good of a team, and they seem to match the effort of the other team, and they come out and they don't look so great. I don't know. Does that make sense to you?
It does. It happens a lot in sports.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm seeing from this team, and I think it's because they're so young, they don't have a
Mhm.
full grasp on what the identity of the Minnesota Vikings is right now. And once they get a better understanding of who they are, I think they'll be more confident in executing the style of play that we want to see from them, and they'll be more consistent week to week.
Right. I think that right now they're still figuring out their identity,
Yep.
and it's just going to take time. And now, yes, we are nitpicking, and they're probably going to be nitpicking the same things and a lot more in the locker room and during tape footage and everything. But yeah, this is the team with a lot of talent, despite what you heard during the off season.
Mhm.
And they will grow, they will mature. Just be patient and grow with them. That's it.
Yeah, because right now we're 4-1, but coming up after the bye week is when we have that really tough stretch of games where we play Chicago, Green Bay, Chicago, and then we got the Rams, and then we got the Texans and the Packers to close out the season. That's
That's not going to be easy.
that's not going to be easy, and we don't know. We've been lucky so far with no one getting injured. Uh, it's hard to say where we're going to be sitting in a couple weeks when that tough period comes up. So just because we're 4-1 right now doesn't mean that's how we're going to close the season out. But
Right.
I am a little bit a believer in you are
Sorry.
what you are, and the Vikings are 4-1. So I mean you are what you are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Vikings are improving, but I did see 5 penalties for 60 yards this game, and they were dumb penalties. There were 15 yarders in some spots, holdings. That I don't know, just dumb penalties. I know it's hard to pick on 5 penalties when the Titans had 10, but still, it's an area where they needed improvement, especially the dumb penalties, the 15 yarders, the personal fouls, the late hits on the quarterback. Those got to stop.
Getting ejected from the football game. I mean, yeah. It's
Yeah, that's got to stop too.
Yeah, 5 penalties is 6 penalties too much. I mean, you don't want any penalties in a football game.
Yeah, you don't want to hand the opponent 60 yards. Say, here you go.
No.
But an area where the Vikings were playing well was on special teams again. They had one breakdown where Darius Renaud almost returned a kick, and that was a little scary. But otherwise, we saw really good coverage. We saw Cluey boot some punts. We saw Blair Walsh kicking extra points and field goals and
Blair,
kicking kickoffs through the end zone.
I got his stats right here in front of me. He was 3 for 3 on field goals today, with his longest coming from 42 yards. And I think that it is time to bust out an old analogy that we used to have here in Minnesota. I think we can start calling Blair Walsh Mr. Automatic when it comes to field goal kicks, because I am impressed with how Blair Walsh has been playing, and it doesn't seem that fitting to be calling him the Blair Walsh Project at this point. So from here on out, yeah, I'm calling him Mr. Automatic.
I'm still calling him the Blair Walsh Project, but that's okay. We can call him different things for now.
But I like what our special teams have been doing. I
Definitely.
I really like our special teams coach, Mike Prefer. And this, you guys might think this is crazy, but Mike Prefer strikes me as a guy who could coach a football team in the National Football League. And I know people out there are going to be going, God, but he's just a special teams coach. But he really knows what he's doing, and you can see how he has his unit playing on the field. And I think he would make a good head coach. And
The more of those kind of coaches that you can get on the field, the better,
Yes,
without a doubt.
we're lucky to have him in Minnesota right now, and I hope they can keep him secured and locked up to a long-term contract on this team.
That would be nice.
And you know what? In terms of coaches, I'm going to stand up for Bill Musgrave right now, too, because I like what he's doing. We have talent on this team. We've only really got two elite players on there, and I'm talking about Percy Harvin and Adrian Peterson. And
Right.
there's been a lot of talk about him wanting to get like a two tight end set. Well, when you only got one tight end in Kyle Rudolph who can do anything, what's the point in running a two tight end set if you don't have a second tight end who can do anything on the field? So it's really impressive to me to see how Musgrave has gone, okay, we're going to give the ball in any possible situation to Percy Harvin and Adrian Peterson. Those are going to be our two
Right.
guys. Offense is going to run through them. Everyone else, if you get open, fine, whatever. It's running through these two. So that's what I've liked about Musgrave's calling so far.
Now, next week, the Vikings play the Redskins.
Hmm.
We're going to see the same kind of football next week, so get used to it. It's going to be heavy doses of Peterson and Harvin with sprinklings in of everybody else. That's what you're going to see.
Which is the way it should be. It's like I say, there's talent on this team, but there's not a lot of elite talent other than those two on the offensive side of the football.
Speaking of talent, a young man who was drafted before Matt Khalil plays for the Redskins in RG3. Now, RG3 suffered a mild concussion this week, so he is probable to play next week, but we're not 100% sure because concussions are tricky things. It seems like every week we're sitting here talking about the opposing quarterback being questionable in some way. It's awkward.
Awkward, huh?
It's awkward for me.
It's a lucky break for Minnesota, is what it is. We're coming in with just starting quarterbacks that are banged up, and after how bad of luck we've had for the past two seasons, I don't care if the other team thinks it's unfair. We're gonna take it. I mean, come on, our roof fell in, and we had to play a home game in Detroit. Tell me how that's fair. You know what? We put up with that. So if RG3 has a concussion and we got to see the other RG,
Kirk Cousins.
the other RG, and I'm talking about Rex Grossman. If he happens to be the starting quarterback, I'm gonna take it.
It's not going to be Rex Grossman, though. It's going to be Kirk Cousins.
No,
RG3 note will not be starting.
oh, RG3 and out. That is my favorite nickname for any player in the NFL. It could not be more fitting than RG3 and out for Rex Grossman. God,
I feel bad calling him that, but it's hilarious.
don't. It's so funny. Adam, you don't know how bad I hope he's the starting quarterback next week. I just want to rip into the 17 interceptions that he'll throw against our Minnesota defense. Oh, it'd be so much fun. I I love RG3, but I hope he has a concussion.
That's all the preview I'm going to do for the Redskins game. I'm going to let you guys do your own research. A lot of defensive players out for the Redskins. A big running team, but we'll see. Because right now it's hard to break it down when you don't know whether you're going to be dealing with RG3 or RG3 and out or Kirk Cousins or who.
To be fair, I'm a Kirk Cousins supporter. I liked him. I thought it was a little bit of a shame that he ended up on the same team as RG3 because, well, that pretty much kills his shots of doing anything unless Robert Griffin's injured.
He played well when RG3 left the game.
Yeah,
He's one that I wouldn't look past, but then again, I didn't look past Hasselbeck either, and he looked pretty awful.
he looked pretty McNabbish.
I was not impressed.
Yeah.
But that'll do it for me. Do you have anything else for this week?
I just want to know, do you got a win or a loss for us coming up next week?
Oh, you're not putting me on the spot like this. I need some time to think about it. I need to know more about the RG3 situation.
Okay,
I'll let you guys know on the Facebook page.
I say you can look for Adam on the Facebook page or on Twitter at Purple People Pod. We'll go ahead and post his thoughts. I'm gonna go out and say if RG3 is the starting quarterback, it's gonna be a close game, probably within 7 to 10 points, but I think Minnesota's going to lose. Being at
Oh.
It's a road game at Washington. Just being a realist here. Of course, I want us to win, but that's just kind of what I'm thinking right now.
Well, tweet us right on our wall on Facebook. Let us know what you think is going to happen in that Redskins game. I just want to remind everyone, our listeners, our non-listeners, even though they can't hear me, to stay classy, Minnesota.